What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Locked on Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. JD and I are back by demand. Was there demand for Frank Nazar? Did that do well? Did it do well?
People like Frank Nazar, so yes.
People like Frank Nazar. Did people download the episode and listen to it?
Yes, people downloaded it and listened.
Nice. Okay, so we're back by popular demand with another teenage boy. Is this one small? I didn't look. This one is... No, this one's average.
Average.
We have your average teenage boy back. We're gonna do another draft profile today. Start knocking those off. The Sharks are also on extended break because they don't play again until Valentine's Day.
Spring break, baby.
Yeah, spring break. So lots of draft profiles to get that coverage started. We'll be back, obviously, covering the Sharks proper towards the end of the week and next week for sure. But for now, another profile.
You're Locked on Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, Kyle Demetrius. Back with me as always is co-host JD, the Gothenburg to my Malmo. I was gonna do foods, and then I couldn't think of two like aggressively Swedish foods off the top of my head, and I didn't want to say Swedish meatballs because that seems like vaguely like xenophobic. So I don't know, lingonberries. I don't know. I had a lingonberry beer last night actually.
That's good.
Yeah, congrats to me.
Congrats to you. I played Halo all night, so
nice. I was up till 5 a.m. because time zones are hard, and when your girlfriend lives in Australia, sometimes you just end up watching the Olympics with her via phone for 3 hours. So.
Yeah. Sounds like a wonderful Saturday night.
Oh, it was excellent.
Someone who's been having several wonderful Saturday nights, Jonathan Lekkerimäki. So we're going to be previewing this boy. So if you guys are new to us or just checking us out for the first time, what we do is we give a little statistical profile of each player. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see our nice, cool little graphics. So we'll give a little statistical profile. Then we'll bring in our expert to talk about how this player actually plays, his strengths, weaknesses, and of course, in our current campaign to find William Eklund a friend, we'll see how well they play with William Eklund, or they could potentially play with William Eklund, or in this case, actually plays with William Eklund.
This one's a little different.
This one's a little bit different. So, Jonathan Lekkerimäki is a July-born baby.
God.
From Sweden. He plays center / right wing, 5'11", 172 pounds. He started this season on the under-20 Djurgardens team, where he put up, in 26 games, he put up 20 goals, 15 assists for 35 points. He's now been bumped up to the Djurgardens SHL team, where in 15 games, he put up 4 goals, 2 assists for 6 points in that time, and currently plays on one William Eklund as line. So to talk more about him, we have our actual local expert for him. So
local to at least that part of the world. Today we are bringing back for draft season again, Mikael Holm. His bio literally says Swedish Scout, which is a great way to brand yourself, but you can find his work at mikaelholm.substack.com or Smart Scouting. Mikael, welcome back to this insane circus.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. That's quite a bump up in your budget since last time.
Yeah, we are two idiots with microphones, but now they want us to be a little bit more professional. JD got credentialed and went to a game on behalf of Locked on Sharks.
Wow,
yeah,
that's free game. That's always good.
We should change our bio to John JD went to a game as a journalist. Mikael Holm. Wow. Couple questions. Where is Djurgarden located?
Stockholm.
Okay. Are you in Stockholm?
I am about an hour outside Stockholm.
Okay. So local adjacent. Okay. That's close enough. Second, most importantly, because I think everybody in Sharks land, actually, I'm going to do something else. You have to pay penance to William Eklund first and talk about how amazing he is for 1 minute before we can move on.
William Eklund is, as I said, I don't think I talked about him that much on this podcast last year. I think he was mentioned, but he is incredible, and he is still the number one prospect from the last year's draft in my eyes, and I'm not sure anything is going to change that. So, yeah, he's doing great. He has trouble scoring. That's the only concern I have. He hasn't scored a goal in a year almost, which isn't
well,
great, except for one preseason game for you guys, I think, right?
Yeah,
he scored in the
against
preseason,
Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Scott Gomez school of hockey. You just don't score for a whole calendar year. But this kind of leads me into where I was going before. I think with Lekkerimaki, everybody sees Djurgarden and immediately says, "Oh God, I want nothing to do with it because Djurgarden is total ass." Everybody in Sharksland has seen the standings, so William Eklund a little bit, but Lekkerimaki, should they be worried about the fact that he's coming from Djurgården, or is that just not a non-factor?
I think coming from Djurgården's youth system is probably one of the best youth teams you can come from in Sweden. Most of it is because they're from Stockholm, and most of the hockey players come from Stockholm, obviously, because it's by far the largest city in Sweden. But you also have a really good crop of youth coming from Djurgården since like the 2019 draft. They had Tobias Björnfot first round in the 2019 draft, went to the LA Kings, plays in the NHL right now. You had in 2020, you had Alexander Holtz, went 8th overall. Last year you had William Eklund, of course, and this year you have 4 players that could basically go in the first round. So they're just pumping out prospects. So I think coming from Djurgården is a great place to come from, because they always give their talents the opportunity in the SHL, but they also have one of the best youth teams and coaches in the country. So I think coming from Djurgården is a really good place to come from.
So what's the disconnect with the SHL team? I guess the talent just leaves, and then their senior team just has, like, obviously Holtz and Baby Bjorn and all them are gone, so nobody stays.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough season where the general manager, the former general manager who took the reins or had the reins for the last couple of years, seemed to view this season as like a middle ground season, just like wait for, because next year a lot of old Djurgården players are out in Europe, like Marcus Kruger from Chicago Blackhawks, for example, and a lot of other similar players their contracts are up, so they have the opportunity to come back to Sweden or in Djurgården. And this seems like he just viewed this year as like, oh, whatever, we just end up somewhere where we don't have to worry, and then next year is where we go all out. And well, when those things happens, they tend to backfire, and it did this year, and they have been terrible. Started the year pretty decently, though, this year. After having a COVID break in early January, they have, I think, 3 wins and 2 losses so far, which is much better than what they had last year or before 2022. So they might stay because there's a qualifying down. So the bottom 2 teams in the SHL are competing with each other in a final in a best of 7 games. And whoever loses that gets relegated to the Hockeyallsvenskan. So they can still stay, but yeah, it's looking rough for him. So
it's a battle of Sharks fans' hearts. It's Djurgården versus Timrå right now for who gets relegated. Which pay no attention. Jonathan Dahlian's not there. He did his job last year. So Lekkerimaki, I think every time people Google him, it says pure goal scorer. Is that true? Is that his thing? Is that his deal?
I would say he has. It's hard as pure goal scorer thing, because I feel like pure goal scorers are those who get into the tough areas and just like find rebounds and just like score those two. He doesn't really have that. He is more of a shooter, a skilled guy with a great shot. So he could become a great scorer, but he needs to develop the part of getting in tight and getting closer to the net more often and fishing up those rebounds. But yeah, he can score.
That's good. I think rebounds and cleaning up the garbage and stuff like that, maybe it comes with a little strength or know-how. And I think the key there is that when you're putting on strength, it's new year, new me, which means that it's time to have some Built Bars. And oh, damn it, I didn't get Mikael this time. So you laugh. But Built Bars are back, obviously. We've given up on the New Year's resolutions. Most people have. I don't know if you haven't. That's congrats to you. But if you're not sticking to it, it's okay. It really happens all the time. But one thing you can stick to is having Built Bars as part of your regimen because they taste good and they're good for you, and you don't have to worry about grabbing one of those old shitty protein bars that taste like chalk or chemicals. You don't have to worry about that. Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, so they're good. Plus, if you don't really want that chocolate bar feel, you can try a Built Bar Puff. Have you ever had one of those? You're missing out because they are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow, and JD and I can both tell you they are very marshmallowy. There's no chocolate bar feel to them at all. It's like eating marshmallows. So they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and those are also covered in 100% real chocolate. And they have a bunch of different flavors, like the cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. They also have limited time flavors all the time. They had that caramel apple thing going on last year. They had a key lime pie situation. It's good. And just like regular Built Bars, they're low calorie and high protein. Most Built Bars only contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a chocolate bar, 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. So, no word on the Peeps flavored bar yet. Unsure. We got new ad copy. No Peeps mentioned. Built Bar, get on this. Get us a holiday flavor. You can always go to built.com and check out what flavors they have coming around, limited time flavors. And you can also go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15, just down here at the bottom of the screen, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. I'm really sad I couldn't make Mikael laugh out of the gate.
It's all right.
Damn, I have failed.
So, Lekkerimaki, so he's like a kind of a sniper type of guy, right? Where it's like he may not score all the dirty goals, but he's going to score the nice, flashy, pretty ones that gets all the highlight reels attention.
Yeah, he's incredibly skilled, and he had a goal recently where he like took the puck between his legs and at the blue line and just like taped it past his defenseman, and then just broke in towards the net and just had a nice little 5-hole goal.
Hell yeah, get out of here, Frank Nazar.
He's incredibly skilled, and he's developed his skating a lot the last few years. I saw him when he was 15 years old. They have a tournament in Sweden that goes on TV for 15-year-olds, and he was the highest scoring player, I think, in that tournament. And he wasn't very fast. His skating was a struggle to watch, and it was something that was an issue for quite some time. But I think this year he's taken enormous steps, and now he's probably one of the fastest kids in his draft, at least in the top. So like he's really developed his skating as well. So I think he's like working towards becoming better all the time as well. You can see that. So I think that's a very good positive with him, and it's the reason why I'm while I don't always like to play, he has when he plays 5-on-5, but it's the reason why I keep him high still, because just his development and how young he is compared to the rest of the draft, and also just that pure skill and goal scoring is.
So what else do you not like? What's kind of holding him back for you, do you think, to be like kind of considered one of these, maybe like in these top 10 names? Is it, like you said, is it just because he tries to do maybe too much, or maybe not enough of the grit and grind that's needed in the NHL, or what?
Gross.
No,
NHL teams need to stop telling high skilled players that they need to play like a good Canadian boy from Alberta. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no,
sorry.
I agree with Kyle. There's I don't care about the grit and grind. Well, it's fun if you have it, but like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you have it, you don't. I don't care. I think the issue I have with him, he's not a play driver. He doesn't drive the play that much, especially for a guy who's ranked so high. He drives the play very little. He doesn't get towards net, and I guess there's a little bit of grit and grind. But when he enters the zone, he doesn't really drive towards the net. He takes shots from the perimeter and the low danger scoring areas. So I think he needs to develop that and being a little bit more picky with his shots, and maybe drive towards the net, hold on to the puck more, and maybe try to spot his teammates a little bit more. He's not that much of a playmaker, although he can deal a little bit on the power play. I've seen him do some fun passes and stuff, but I think he needs to be a little bit more head up a little bit more, just like looking out for his players, finding their lanes and stuff like that, and while also just keep on developing, getting stronger, and try to drive towards the net more and get those high danger scoring chances instead of just shooting from the top of the circle.
So he's almost like he's like an individual skill guy, and his weakness is like being part of the team, sort of like using your teammates to be better.
Yeah, a little bit. Like I don't consider him selfish, because like he doesn't really just like hog the puck or anything. It's mostly because he plays on a line with the two others of those 4 Djurgården players I mentioned that could go in the first round. But I don't think he's selfish, but I think he just needs to learn to use his players, his teammates better, especially in transition. But yeah, I think he works really hard. Like he's not that bad defensively. He's pretty good defensively actually, and like he back checks, forechecks, all those things like that you want to see from a forward. He does those things already. So I think like just being better at recognizing his teammates, being a little bit more of a impact player, 5-on-5 play, and just keep developing, because his first few, like I don't remember how many games he's played in the SHL so far. You said it, but I don't really.
It's like 15 or so, yeah, 15 or 16.
15. Yeah, I think like his first 8 games, he was a little bit just getting the hang of it, getting the feel of it. And now the last 7 games, I think he scored all of his points. So he has 6 points in his last 7.
That's good.
So I think it's just like get going, just getting to know the game, getting better at like playing a men's style of hockey game, basically.
You can tell that he's a goal scorer because when you go to his elite prospects every year, he's got way more goals than assists. Like with the under 16 Djurgarden team, he's got 16 goals and 4 assists. With the 18 regional team, he's got 12 goals, 4 assists. With the 20 Djurgarden team, he's got 20 goals, 15 assists. And with Djurgarden right now in the SHL, he's got 4 goals, 2 assists, and then with the Swedish junior team, he's got 5 goals, no assists. It's really funny. Which is like, all right, this guy scores goals.
So
he's a Brett Hall type of guy.
Oh, nice.
That's good. The Sharks need more goal scorers, pure goal scorers anyway. But so our big quest this offseason is we need to find William Eklund a friend, right? Someone who can kind of be that other blue chip talent with Eklund. And in this case, he actually plays with Eklund. I know that they've played on a line together. How do those two guys work well together? I think you would think that like Eklund with his play driving ability and then Lekkerimaki with his shooting ability, it seems like a match made in heaven, right?
Yeah, they've worked out really well. Eklund was moved to center now in the new year, and he started playing with Dick Axelsson, who's a return to Djurgården, who's like an old guy who retired.
What a name.
That is,
he retired last summer, and now he came back just to try to save Djurgården from getting relegated. And he's a really like skilled guy. So they have 3 really skilled guys on the line, and it's very fun to watch. And they've been the reason why Djurgården has won a few games now in the new year, because they've been their best line basically. They are playing really well together, and Eklund and Lekkerimaki are finding each other because they are both skilled, and they try to do stuff that others don't really think of. So I think it's a good combo so far.
Kyle, if you wanted to bet on if Djurgården could get relegated, where could you do that?
The interwebs.
Specifically, our friends over at betonline.net. So BetOnline's got you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues their march through the playoffs, right to the big game next week. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline's got you up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, and NHL, boxing, UFC, and right, along with live real-time updates of current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2022 season. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Dick Axelsson is one of those guys that's just like a random Swedish dude that seems like pretty serviceable for a long time that a North American hockey fan would just have zero idea exists. but you would know who he is.
Yeah, no, he's been one of the best players in the SHL the last 15 years or so. But But yeah, he has all the tools, but he doesn't really did never make it really. Like he would be a player that every GM dreams of. I think he's like 6'3" or something. He's very skilled, good skater, shoots well. Like it has a like a little feistiness to him, but
he was
never made it in the NHL.
He was drafted in the second round in 2006 by the Red Wings.
Yeah, yeah, it was over there for 1 year or something. I think.
I don't think he actually ever. Oh, he played 17 games in the AHL in 2009-10. He had 5 points in 17 games. That's not the worst. I mean, transitioning, but anyway, and then he played in Switzerland too.
Yeah,
cool. Anyway, it's not the Dick Axelson show as much as I want to talk about Dick Axelson.
Later this summer,
1 full hour on Dick Axelson. So you're an NHL GM now, Mikael. Congratulations. You're helming a franchise, even though it's Arizona. Sorry.
Okay, I'm just gonna make a call to the owners, make them move the team.
Oh, you don't want to play in a 5,000 seat stadium? Imagine that.
Where only 3,000 people can get in.
Yeah.
Worst part was Gary Bettman was like, "Yeah, I think their revenue might actually go up when they go there." And I was just like, "Why does this team exist?"
When you he could just charge $150 a ticket because there's only 3,000 seats or whatever.
Oh my god. Anyway, first draft pick for Mikael, Dick Axelson. Welcome aboard. Okay, you're an NHL GM. You have a pick. You have a pick in the first round or whatever. What's holding you back from Lekkerimaki as an NHL GM? Because I know that when scouts, and for people that are new to these profiles, we bring on a lot of internet scout. I don't want to say internet scouts. We bring on a lot of people that scout on the internet, but they don't necessarily work. Like Mikael, you don't work for an NHL team, right? You work for Smart Scouting. You work for yourself. You're very good at what you do. But now put yourself in the mind of an NHL GM, because we all know that Juraj Slafkovsky is going to be on the board and he's 6'5", 6'4", and GMs are just going to get all lathered up and hot and bothered to draft him, even though a smaller guy may be better. So Lekkerimaki as an NHL GM, what's holding you back, and what's kind of like what you're thinking as an NHL team here when it comes to him?
I think it's the predictability and how his game translates to the NHL, because right now it doesn't really play an NHL type of game. I think that's the biggest issue with his game, as I mentioned, like just like recognizing his teammates' lanes and where they're coming and stuff like that. When he's in transition and carrying the puck, he's a little bit straightforward, a little bit much head down. So that would be my concern. I don't know, like he's a fun, like he's a guy I would want to take because he's fun and he has a high ceiling. Like he could become a 40 goal scorer in the NHL. Like that's like completely out of that's like that's like his ceiling. But like he could like score 40 and you'd be pretty happy with taking that guy at 13. But at the same time, how high is the percentage or highest chance that he actually gets there? I don't know, but like, yeah, you need to just like, I need to weigh, as a GM, I need to weigh the pros and the cons and just like trying to figure out how projectable his game actually is. And right now, I don't think it's as projectable as other players like Juraj Slafkovsky or someone else.
Brad Lambert.
Brad Lambert, but Brad Lambert is he's a top 3 guy. Should be.
No, he's not.
No, he's like a mid-round guy. Yeah.
I wouldn't touch him until the 3rd round.
There we go. That's the kind of stuff we want right there. A real Atu Rati situation.
So Lekkerimaki, so you said he could potentially be a 40 goal guy, which would be amazing. I mean, I know that's like super, super duper ceiling. How long do you think he's going to stay in the SHL before he can kind of start making that jump to North American game?
I think 2 years, probably, or 1 year in Sweden and then a year in the AHL, probably. Then you can start thinking about maybe taking him into the NHL team. But I think for him it would be good to just play against men as much as possible in the in Sweden or AHL. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm not really a guy like says the SHL is better than the AHL. AHL works really well because
Yes,
you have
that's not what you were saying before the podcast. You were just bashing AHL constantly. But
I mean, the AHL is bad, but I think it's good. I think it's good to have, especially with San Jose, who has their AHL team in the same city. So it's very easy to just like keep developing with the NHL team. So I think that's good for you if you're going to San Jose and play in the AHL. So yeah, just like take it easy with him. Make sure that he gets to play a little bit more of a men's style game, a little bit more of a developed game rather than playing as a junior player. And I think it would turn out really well for him.
His profile. How often does a Swedish prospect like his profile work out in the NHL, or is it more they usually don't really hit their potential? Kind of what's his like
trajectory, I
path?
Guess.
Yeah, there's the word I'm looking for.
That's a good question. I would need to maybe do a little bit more research on it, but I think more often than not, a guy that's scoring like he does right now in the SHL usually develops pretty well.
Is there a similar guy in the last couple of years that people would know that's kind of like similar? Like, is Fabian Lysell, like, would he be a similar?
I mean, Lekkerimaki does better than Lysell did last year in the SHL. But Lysell's opportunities were a little bit more. They play the same amount of time, but Lysell's opportunities were a little bit more limited because Lekkerimaki is on the first line power play for Djurgården. The Lysell didn't get any special teams at all, basically. So who can I think of who? Like, he's a little bit like Alexander Holtz. I don't think he's as good as Holtz, and it's not as good as a prospect as him. But like I think a little bit more towards that path, maybe, like Holtz had. Can I think of? I don't know, like Elias Anderson, I think did better than him in the SHL at his age. So I think there's a little bit of like up and down there you can find. So it all depends on the team that takes him. New York Rangers doesn't really treat their prospect really well, as we've seen the last couple of years. They don't get any development out of them. So I think Elias Anderson is a little bit of a low bar to go to, but I think with the San Jose's development, you don't really rush guys right now towards the NHL, and you're taking it slow and just making sure that they're developed and like just making sure that they're good enough. And I think he'd be a great fit for San Jose.
So he needs at the end of the day, he's a high skill guy that needs to work on some stuff, and he needs time to just cook and simmer and get better. This isn't a draft pick. If San Jose drafts 12th and they take Lekkerimaki, this isn't a guy that's going to be there next year. Maybe not the year after. You're looking like 3 seasons down the line at the earliest.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I think.
Well, then Eklund will have won multiple Hearts and stuff, so it'll be good.
Yeah, the Calder, the Hart, and the Vesina.
Somehow the Norris, exactly. You get it. Every person we have on now has to just be over the top in love with Eklund, otherwise they're not invited on our show.
I mean, I'm the OG. Like, I'm the OG Eklund lover. You've got to remember that. I'm the first guy. I was the one that
you have to
threw him into the top. I threw him into the top 10 in November of 2020. I threw him like. I've been watching Eklund since he was 16, so I've known about his talents for a long time. So
were you surprised? We're gonna have you back on at the end of the season to talk Eklund, a full power hour of Eklund. But just quickly, were you surprised when he fell to 7 to San Jose?
Not surprised, because I knew he was going to fall. I didn't agree with it. That's probably my take. I thought he was going to Detroit, but they took Edvinsson, and I mean, Edvinsson is good still.
He's a perfectly fine pick. He's just not.
He's done great in the SHL this year, but I still don't think he's better than Eklund. And just looking at Eklund, like he's starting to cook now, starting to score more points. He's like 4 points. I think he's 4 points from the leader of under 20 scorers in the SHL, and he has played 20 games less than him. So I think he has like
People have been
and
worried
also
about
hasn't-
Eklund scoring.
Also hasn't scored a goal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hasn't scored a
exactly.
goal.
He has only 9 assists, so like they aren't scoring a tons, but like still he's just 4 points behind. He's gonna end up as the best scorer probably on his
You know
own
who else?
score in the SHL again.
You know
Or
who
he
else
didn't.
You know who else did score a lot of goals? Jonathan Thornton. I don't know who Jonathan Thornton is.
Joe
Joe Thornton. Oh my god, my brain is not working. I don't think Jonathan Thornton scored a lot of goals either. I've never even heard of him.
The lost Thornton brother.
Jeez. Okay, let's wrap this baby up. Imagine his name was John Thornton. Oh god. Okay,
Jumbo
just like we
John.
did. Just
Doesn't
like
have
we
the
did.
same- Yeah.
Jumbo John.
Two on the nose.
just like we did last year, we have 2 questions where we have extracted blood and we're making you write it in your own blood because we're going to find you and make you pay if you get them wrong. First question: what number does Joe Lekkerimaki go at? Jonathan Lekkerimäki go at?
11th overall.
Okay, now we're cooking. That's probably going to be somewhere around the Sharks
range right there. Yep.
in the teens. Okay, 11th overall. Any chance he goes a little high? Like is we talked about Frank Nazar, and spoiler alert, we have Matt Savoy coming, and there was a little bit of a variance with Matt Savoy's 5'9", so he could go 2nd overall or like 14th. Is Lekkerimaki going to be one of those guys where he could sneak into that top 5, or he's just not going to push his way into those top tier?
It depends on how the rest of the season goes, of course. If he continues scoring at almost a point per game the rest of the season, he is going to move up along a lot of boards, just like Kamel did earlier during the season, or similar. So I think, I think he could move into the top 10. I'm not sure about top 5. It feels like that's kind of settled for the NHL teams, but who knows? It's still early, and this year's draft is so blah. So I don't know. It's the top 10. I don't care. Like I have like 6 guys that I can take in the top 10, and then the rest of them I'm like, I wouldn't touch them if I had to pick in the top 10. So
Okay.
it's a tough year to predict and project, but I think he can sneak in the top 10. If he does really well as he's done so far in 2022, he could also sneak into the top 5. Definitely.
Fair. The final question: 5 years from now, it's 2027. We're going to find you, and we're going to see if you're right. Who is the best player from this draft? William Eklund.
No.
Yeah, William Eklund every year. I gotta say Shane Wright. I still think it's Shane Wright. I think I'm pretty stable on board of the Shane hype to number 1 train. So yeah, I think it's Shane Wright.
All right, so now we've got Shane Wright, Matt Savoy, and Brad Lambert as our 3 answers so far.
Those are pretty good answers.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun that we came out of the gate with a Brad Lambert, and JD and I passed out from excitement. Mikael, where can people find you? What are you doing? What are you cooking? Tell the people what's going on in your life.
You can find me on Twitter mostly. Call Mikael Holm. That's where I post everything that I do. I'm not that active nowadays. It's been a lot of work and stuff the last couple of months, but I've picked up the scouting and starting to really watch a lot of games. So yeah, you can find me there, and you can also find me at mikaelholm.substack.com, where I write about Swedish prospects. It's been inactive a couple of months, but I'm starting to cook up some things that I might post there pretty soon. I hope. We'll see. And yeah, that's and Smart Scouting, of course, where I scout European prospects. We posted rankings a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, that's where you can find me right now.
And Carl Mikael Holm is CarlMikaelHolm, like all the way that a Swedish person would spell all of those words. Not like an English person. You can find us at Locked On Sharks on Twitter, Facebook, and the Gram. Obviously, you guys know that we will interact with you if you want to talk about anything. Yeah, that's our brand. JD puts up all our work on Facebook and Instagram as well, and we will interact with you there. If you have any questions or if you want to see a specific prospect, I know we've got some requests for guys like Jimmy Snuggerud, which is hilarious. Frank Nazar, which we covered off. We're going to try to cover off them all, but if you want to see a specific guy sooner rather than later, let us know and we will get on it. YouTube, if you're into watching three white guys on the internet, you can do that at Locked On Sharks. I think we're at 550 now.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Who cares? We're very excited this early in the Sunday morning. Listening to us, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, the usual places you listen to podcasts. You're already listening to us now. If you'd like to email us, you can do that at lockedonsharks@gmail.com. We haven't got an email in a while. Thank you for your service, everybody. If you want to see somebody stupid, like that Gaucher guy, you can email that option to us, and we will delete it. JD is at my fry hole. I am at Kyle Demetrius. Mikael is at Mikael Holm. You can check him out on his Substack. You can check him out at Smart Scouting. Mikael, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, guys. It's great.
Appreciate it.